first bench,
Yep.
you were last.
Yeah.
What goes through your mind? I mean, you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was very. That part was probably one of the probably the scariest moment of the entire competition. I thought I showed up having some on track experience. I kind of was like, oh, this is. I'm glad the gaming part's out of the way because that was where I thought I was going to be weak in, and the car stuff I was going to be strong in. And then I'm last at the first benchmark, and it just was kind of a real shock. And it just said, okay, I got to really buckle down here and give it all I have because, like I said on the show, I thought at that moment I was going home next.
How were you feeling once you start running and once you start just, were you looking back? Were you like, man, I have a huge advantage? Or were you just like, I just got to stay focused? I mean,
Yeah.
what was going through your mind as you running and pulling away in the lead?
Well, I remember when I was running, I remember seeing even before GT Academy, everyone else was showing their workout stuff on kind of through Facebook stuff. So I thought I knew kind of everyone else was in good shape. So when I started running and I passed Tommy there, I thought he was letting me kind of go ahead, and then he was going to blow by me at the end. So I
Right.
was still a little scared at that point. But once I climbed that hill, and then I kind of saw that where we're getting in the cars next, I just kind of knew, okay, I got to make the most time I can because you never know what can happen. You make a mistake and something else, you want to just. I knew from my benchmark, like you said before, where I was last, I had to prove myself in this quadrathlon if I wanted to stay.
Were you surprised that they had you guys pulling the cars instead of getting on?
Yeah, that was
How,
interesting.
I mean, how you're like, what?
That was an interesting challenge when it first started. I kind of like, oh, this is the quadra. I remember when I got asked in the beginning what was going to be my favorite event of the week, and I remember the quadrathlon just from previous seasons where that was something I really really enjoyed and thought I was going to be strong at. And then when I saw one of the events we were going to be pulling a car, I'm like, I don't think I'm not that strong lower body compared to some of these other guys. So I was a little worried there, but once I got through that and into the running part, it was a lot of fun and it was a blast.
Um, you're moving on, GT Academy, and obviously everybody on the show, when they got to the oval track, the short track, they're like, we worry more about Tony and Nick is fine. He's not gonna
Yeah.
win this thing or whatever. Our most, our biggest enemy is Tony and Tony and Tony. Was that your turning point, or tell me, just whenever you felt in the whole GT Academy? Obviously, you started off last, and then you won your benchmark, which is awesome. But what was the really turn point whenever you just reached that next level, and you were like, okay, I'm stepping out in front now, and I'm taking control and going for it, you know?
Yep. So through that, since that first benchmark, I always kind of felt like I was, like you said, behind. And then I think the moment that was a turning point for me was at the Gymkhana course, where Tommy basically from everyone or from my side of it looked when he was one of the strongest competitors out there. So when I was able to beat him in the Gymkhana and move on, and that was a nerve-wracking challenge to begin with. So after I beat him, and I started sitting down and thinking about it, I'm like, I actually have a shot at winning this. So that was the turning point for me, where it's like I knew that we're all battling for tenths here, tenths there, but after that Gymkhana, I thought I finally told myself, you know what, I actually do have a realistic
Wow.
shot at
Okay.
winning GT Academy.
I thought it would be earlier, but
No,
that's good to know. It was great. That's,
yeah,
I mean, I always enjoy watching all the GT Academies. It's just like, I'll stay up too late just watching just the episodes. Even though I've watched them before, I keep just
yeah.
watching.
No,
And
it's fun to yeah, even for after you, especially when you're participating in it, it's even better just to
yeah.
watch. Yeah.
So let's see if I can bring up the last race, and um, you know, take us to kind of like your preparation for that. The night before, sitting in the locker room. By the way, how were the locker rooms? Were they
They were
good?
good. Yeah, it was unique. It was like you're kind of in a military camp, but you got to drive cars every day, so it made you could kind of deal with the staying all in the one room when you get to wake up in the morning and drive Nissan GTRs and Nissan 370s.
Awesome. Uh, so the night before, the day before even, the morning time, and the race. Just take us through that experience again.
Yep. So I remember waking up that morning where we'd always eat breakfast, or you'd shower, eat breakfast, get ready for the day, and that was one where, and then we hopped in. That's where we actually did the braking challenge that morning, where we would that speed up to 70 and kind of turn into the pit markers and stop.
Right.
But after that, then they took us right over to the room where they asked us, "Are we 100% in?" And that's where Tommy kind of said he's got family commitments, so he called out. And then all of us got taken and put in cars right away and took laps with Danny, Boris, and Rob. So it was kind of a quick transition where we knew we were in the final race. So that it was good for me because it was where you don't have time to think about it and overanalyze. You're just put in a situation and just reacting and driving the best you can. So then after that, we kind of had maybe a few minutes where we did some more filming stuff in between, where we did the ride-alongs with the instructors to qualifying. So it was just about kind of sitting down, like you said, closing your eyes, preparing mentally for what was about to happen, and just doing your best because that's all you can really do.
Race for GT Academy. So, talk to me about lights.
Yeah.
I mean, your outlap, sitting on the car. Were you nervous? Were you shaking? Were you sweating? You were calm? What were your feelings?
I remember getting right before I got into I was strapping out just before I was going to turn out onto the racetrack. Boris quick snuck in and said, "Hey, this is the one moment that will change the rest of your life or change your racing career." So I was like,
Thanks,
"Oh, that's
Boris."
more." It was good motivation that way. I remember doing the lap, lining up, and the difficult part was just make sure that they line you up, and then you go around and then you line up again, not to go past your mark where they line you up. So I think I was more nervous about not going past my mark. I forgot kind of what was all at stake. So then I just lined up, and the lights, I got a decent start with the lights, and I kind of felt just with the stuff that I did racing at home and with go-karting, I felt like it was okay. Just another race, and do the best I can, and whatever happens, happens. So that was good. And after the lights went out, I was able to get a nice jump, and then that first lap, like I said in my changing through GT Academy, I kind of started out slow, but then I started to build up. So that first lap, I had to be a little defensive, holding Mark back. Then after that, I was able to get some clean laps, and each lap, I learned something that helped a lot. Either brake deeper into a corner, carry a little bit, maybe 2 miles per hour at that apex. So I was able to learn and adapt quicker to kind of improve my lap times.
That's awesome. Any butterfly feelings before the start or anything like that, or they were just gone immediately after?
No, I'd say it was a little butterflies. I don't think everything happens so fast in GT Academy week because it's just 7 days of just full tilt racing stuff, driving stuff, working out. I'd say you have time for them, but it was good where it's like they put you in a car, you're out on track, you don't really have time to think about it. So I would say I was just thankful to be at that area and get to this far in the competition, and now it was time to shoot out for the win.
Awesome. You come in, so you're leading, we're watching you here leading, and then Mark and Alex are battling out, and I think that helped a lot to be able to pull you away. Are you watching the mirrors? I mean, are you looking at them and they're like, okay, I'm good, or?
I remember a little bit. I just glanced into coming into or before Stowe, that long back straightaway, hanger straight. I'd look in the mirror and I saw those guys battling. So I'm like, oh, good. They're kind of battling, pulling away a little. Yeah. And then I remember one time I went a little deep into Stowe, which is that corner after that long straight. And I'm like, I'm gonna throw this away. I thought I was going off or going wide. But then after that, I was able to kind of calm down and settle in again and keep pushing. But it's still, at that point, it didn't even set in what I was just about to win the race. It was just another race and doing the best that I could to prove that I wanted to be GT Academy champion.
Awesome. What were you feeling? So it wasn't the final decision yet. It wasn't whoever wins this race is going to win GT Academy. So you're standing there with the guys, all 4 guys, and you're standing there, and they're about to announce, So what was going through your mind at that point?
At that point, I kind of was like, well, hopefully I did all that I could to hopefully show the judges that I deserved to win or had a shot at winning. So at that point, I was happy with my performance. It was just when you have a dream of I remember 3 years ago when I heard about the program and I was like, oh, a really neat program. Hopefully someday I'll get to compete in it. And then to be standing there, win the final race, and had a blast throughout the week and was one of the final competitors at that final race. Whatever happened, I would have been mad if I didn't win, but I just had such a fun time there, and it was just a dream come true.
That's awesome, man. So they just announced that you won. You have a huge smile on your face. And you call your dad.
Yeah.
How was
That
that
was
feeling?
that was one of the moments I'll remember for the rest of my life. Just when you hear your name, that you're the GT Academy champion, I can freeze, I can like glance back in my head that I just remember that moment like it was yesterday. And then to be able to call him and tell him that I won GT Academy and all that hard work, and ever since I was little, he was the guy there that was either putting me in a go-kart, getting me behind the wheel, and giving me car magazines, giving me advice on racing. So I felt like he deserved to be there, or deserved to feel the emotion that I was that same way.
The famed Silverstone Circuit, the home of British motor racing. And for one fortunate gamer, the fast track to a racing career. This is GT Academy, where North America's top Gran Turismo gamers battle head-to-head to become a Nismo athlete and a professional racing driver for Nissan. Training with some of the world's best driving instructors, 12 competitors embark on a series of challenges testing their speed, strength, and soul.
Come on, don't quit! How bad do you want it?
Judges Rob Barth, Danny Sullivan, and Boris Said watch over every move to discover North America's next Nismo athlete. I'm your host, Dahani Jones, and the race from virtual to reality is on. That's not a video game. It's real life.